7 general managers have been fired within the last 2 weeks that I personally know of. And one of the reasons I found out, one dealer group reached out to me to set up training. And, I was asking about who the GM was, and they were letting me know they recently had to let go of 2 of theirs. And I wanted to find out, what is the real reason behind such high turnover in the automotive industry amongst general managers? It's almost like playing musical chairs. And what they told me blew me away, because the service department was running at 95%. The parts department was doing okay. What was the real reason? And what I found out was what we probably all already know, but it seems as if it's very challenging to translate that to a GM before it's too late. What they told me was the amount of money that was being spent on marketing, the amount of losses due to blown opportunities, the amount of training new hires, the amount of turnover versus what was coming in from the sales side didn't match up, plus the salary and the commission that they were paying that general manager. And we're talking about $250,000, $300,000, some of them $400,000 a year positions gone. And now they have to go out and recoup that. One thing I saw recently, one GM that had been a GM of a store for 15 years was literally working in finance department of a store I was recently brought into to train at. And just here's my advice. If you're in that top spot at the store, you're in that general manager spot, and let's say you're not a managing partner. Okay, I get it. I know your monthly income is based on the amount of revenue generated versus what's spent. So you want to hold on to everything to make sure that monthly check is big enough to continue living a nice lifestyle with your family. I get it. But one thing I highly suggest, and I'm seeing it, and as we go into the fourth quarter, it's going to get even more rampant. Before it gets too late, whether you decide to deal with somebody like myself or anybody, I highly recommend seeking and looking out for training outside of your store. Because here's what I see. You can't imagine how many dealerships I've been brought into to where they had one of their top guys training their sales staff. But here's the kicker of that. Think about it. Every person, every GM, every owner of a store should want to have a staff of people who can perform so well that they can go and sell and make money anywhere, but they choose to be there. Okay, so when you have somebody that is training your staff that is still working there, that haven't done what I like to call sell their way out, they can only train your sales staff to get to a certain level because they only got to a certain level. You want them to think like bosses and perform like pros. Then you need to have a boss and a pro come in and work with them. Think about it. LeBron James and Michael Jordan had shooting coaches. Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, who is super wealthy, has a business advisor. The best of the best know that in order to maintain that top spot, sometimes it requires that outside eye to give them some information or to help them fix something that could help them be even more successful. And that's all this is about. It's really a partnership when you're looking for the right trainer to bring into your store to work with your staff. And one way, because I know it's tough, you say, man, I don't want to waste any money and look crazy, throw out thousands of dollars and we don't get a return, and I'm in a worse spot than I was before I brought that person in. I get it. One thing that I've been told by dealer groups that have separated their services they got with me and made them choose me over anybody else is when they went and looked, they saw that I was actually booked and in stores all the time. Not one of these keyboard warriors that's just putting out stuff, but you never see them in the store. You never see that anybody's hiring them. You never see that anybody's paying them to do what they say they're so-called so good at. So I highly recommend, if you're considering bringing in somebody to work with your team on site, because let's face it, on-site live training with role playing and interaction, it really does stimulate a whole nother method of learning that helps your people retain information much better and perform and generate a return for you much quicker. But I highly recommend, it doesn't make leadership any less capable. It actually makes leadership smart when they realize, let us focus on doing what we do best, which is helping people solve their transportation problems. Let me get an expert person in here that's good at what they do, that whose philosophy of sales lines up with our store, but who can dedicate their time to doing nothing but working with our staff, not having to run out, put out fires for the sales reps, not having to stop and interact with customers. Focus only on helping your team get up, get out, and get going at a high capacity. That's what it takes. So don't let this Christmas come around and you be the next one that catches that pink slip. It sucks going into Christmas wondering where your next position gonna come from. And it doesn't have to be that way. I highly recommend that You and I have a conversation. If you know your team isn't performing up to par like they should be, if you know that you've been considering bringing in a trainer to work specifically with your team, if you know that the amount of money you're losing on marketing, lost opportunities, and turnover, you're already losing that. You might as well do something to help recoup it and maintain it and then build off of that. Send me a message or give me a call. My number is 904-438-8556. Brian Maxwell here, and I want to do everything we can to help our industry and our business get bigger and better. Not liking seeing what it's doing now. And I've had several stores this year that have tripled their sales production and their revenues simply because they sat down, took time out, and realized in order for them to get what they needed, they had to be willing to do something they'd never done. And I highly recommend you do the same. Other than that, I hope you are kicking ass at your store. I hope your spot is solidified. But if you know you wake up in the morning sometimes wondering, if you're going to get that call, or if you notice board members or the owner of the dealership been calling you more often, been texting more often, asking what's going on, be proactive rather than reactive. Let's have a conversation. Other than that, man, I wish you all the best. I love this business. And if you can't tell that, check my profile. This is what I do. This is what I love. I love watching salespeople's skills improve. I love having dealer groups say, Brian, we increased our profits thanks to what you came in and worked with our team. And more than anything else, I love giving this information out that can help somebody. If I can help one GM maintain that position to continue providing that lifestyle for their family, then, this was all done for a real purpose. If I can just help one. But fortunately, I've been able to help thousands, and I want to help you too. So wish you all the best. Hope you're killing it. Checking in from out in Colorado this morning. I'm Brian Maxwell, and I look forward to seeing you at the dealership.